Yo, it's me and Drew on Hood Notes. Today we're going to talk about my homegirl Jane Eyre, written by Charlotte Bronte.
Now, my girl Jane didn't have the best childhood. She was orphaned at a young age and lived with her Auntie Reed and her cousins who were super whack and treated her like dirt, until finally Jane started acting like a real G and fought back. Auntie Reed had absolutely no chill, and she didn't like being challenged, so she decided to get rid of Jane once and for all, even though it went against her dead husband's dying wish. She sent Jane to Lowood School under the control of Mr. Brocklehurst, which was all good with Jane, who was finally getting a fresh start. Besides, who needs a family that thinks you're less than a servant and locks you in rooms and never believes anything you say and throws books at you anyway, right? Lowood was a school that taught girls household duties and about how to be a Christian woman. They grew up in a humble environment. Many times they were starving, and in the winter they were freezing. Once Jane was punished after dropping a writing slate, but she was punished for things she had done when living with Miss Reed, making everyone think she was a liar. Brocklehurst used his own daughters as role models, even though everything about them was hypocritical to what he was teaching. They be carrying Gucci and wearing Ralph Lauren, while their daddy be teaching others how to live simply. Jane did have one good friend, Helen, who taught Jane to live religiously and take criticism without making a scene. Except Helen was sick and soon she was for real dead. After Helen's death, Jane began to behave better, learn more, and soon she was being respected by the higher-ups. As she got older, Jane moved into more important roles at Lowood, taking down the previous leaders. Looking for more in her life, Jane filled out an ad in the local paper to be a governess, as she was very intelligent, spoke French, and did paintings. She quickly got a job at Thornfield Hall, teaching a young French girl who was in charge of Edward Rochester. Mr. Rock had a thing for Jane, and she liked him too, even though she said no when he asked. Messed up things started happening at Thornfield, such as crazy laughing, a house guest getting shanked, and Mr. Rock's room being set ablaze. After all this, Jane and Mr. Rochester decide to get married.
He's not even single!
That is, until Jane finds out about Rochester's other wife, Crazy Bertha, who's behind all the stabbing and laughing and such. Jane leaves Thornfield and Rochester. She's penniless and starving until she happens upon the Rivers family, two sisters and a brother, St. John, who takes Jane in even though she uses an alias. One day while Jane is painting a portrait of one of the Rivers sisters, John comes in and tears her signature right off the page, showing them her true name. He then realizes that she's been their cuz all along. After learning about this family tie, Jane inherits mucho dineros from an uncle. She refuses to marry her cousin St. John and runs back to Mr. Rochester because Jane having money makes them equals. However, when she returns, she sees Thornfield burnt to a crisp by Crazy Bertha. Rochester's lost an eye, gone blind to the other, and lost a hand. But they get married anyway. They return to Rochester's house at Ferndean Manor, where Jane takes good care of her man. They even have a little rock of their own, and Big Rock gets his sight back in his remaining eye. Then they all live happily ever after.
So, Hannah, what do you think the tone is?
Lugubrious.
What does lugubrious even mean?
Lugubrious means dreary or depressed.
And where do you see dreary or depressed in a homegirl's novel?
When Jane's cuz, beats her up.
You know, I get what you're saying. Because, at Lowood, they're like starving. I'm kind of hungry.
Me too. Carson, that pizza ready?
Yep. And, when homegirls all like
homeless?
yeah, like homeless. Like she walking around looking for a cardboard box and she ain't got home.
Wait, and she had a back on a stick?
Yeah, like a hobo. So, Hannah, you got any other words for the tone or whatever?
I guess affectionate.
What do you mean by affectionate?
That hard stuff.
Like love?
I guess.
Want to tell me where in this book you saw the affection or love or whatever?
You mean the heart stuff?
Yeah,
Well, they got married.
they did. I guess you gotta be in love to get married.
And then they, like, had a child thing.
A child thing.
You know, like a baby.
Oh, I got you. I see the affection. I can see the affection.
There's some heart stuff. So, Haley, what do you learn from this book?
You mean like the theme?
I guess.
Well, I guess you could say that one of the like themes or like main ideas, if you know what I'm saying, is like social classes, or like the hierarchy of like the people.
Oh.
The people, yeah. So, cause you know like Miss Reed.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Reed, she was all like, "Nah, Jane, you poor, and I got money, so that means I'm better than you." And Jane was like, "I can't help that I'm poor." And Miss Reed was like, "I don't care. I'm gonna be mean to you because you're poor and I got money." You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. So that Mr. Rock dude,
Yeah,
since he had more money,
yeah,
he thought he was better.
better because he had more money, and that's where you see the social class.
That ain't right.
So, like, Hannah, what did you learn from this book? Like the theme,
About church?
like religion.
Yeah. I guess when, Jane wouldn't marry that Mr. Rock dude because he already had a wife.
Yeah, because thou shalt not marry a hoe if he got a side hoe that's crazy locked up in the closet.
Closet?
Yeah, she was stuck in the closet because she was crazy. Bertha?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, her. And I guess when, like St. John, remember him?
Uh-huh, the cousin.
Yeah, well, he wanted to marry her.
Oh, that ain't right.
Hey, B-Rad, you got any comparisons for me?
Of course I do. This is you, who have been as slippery as an eel this last month, and as thorny as a briar rose. You got any comments on that?
I think that Mr. Rock dude is trying to throw some shade at my girl Jane for not loving him back.
Drop another quote, CP9.
Alright, B-Reggie. I see at intervals the glance of a curious turtle bird through the close-set bars of a cage. A vivid, restless, resolute captive is there. What do you think about this, B-Red?
Sound like my girl Jane's trap. We ain't really knowing who she is, and we really need to know who she is.
Hey, B-Rad G, can you whip me up another motif on page 1738?
Nay. But I can on page 429. A dreadful calamity. Such an immense quantity of valuable property destroyed. Hardly any of the furniture could be saved. The fire broke out at dead of night, and before the engines arrived from Millcote, the building was one mass of flame. It was a terrible spectacle. I witnessed it myself. Can you elaborate on that? What does that mean for the overall picture of this book?
I really don't think it's got that much meaning. I really just think it means that there's a lot of fire and destruction in Jane Eyre.
You might be right.
I know I'm right.
Morgan, why does Jane always talk about herself in this book?
No, I think it's because it's an autobiography. You know, she's using first person and talking about herself, which is probably why it's pretty biased.
Bias? Oh, yeah. We only get her side of the story. We never hear from Mr. Rochester or Miss Reed or any of them. We only get Jane's opinion.
Maybe Jane's opinion isn't right.
Should we believe her?
I think so.
Me too.
She's pretty old now. Had time to reflect.
So I guess that kind of makes her more reliable.
Yeah, she's pretty reliable.
I agree.
Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Hey!
Do I look like a fly, really? Because I feel it. Ow!
Go.
Guys,
You're so funny. You're about 8 hours late. How about you redo it? Raise your hand.
Adding a character to Jane Eyre. Podrita the praying mantis. She's so happy. Hello. It's me.
What are you?
Is that it?
All right, Dan.
The gal getting, you know, like beat up by her cousins. She's depressed there.
You sound so country. Depressed in Homegirl's novel.
Jane's cuz.
She's like, look, Goldberg, yes.
Named John, you remember him?
The cousin.
Yeah, well, he wanted to marry her.
Oh, that ain't right. You gotta be in West Virginia for that kind of stuff.
We don't marry our cousins here.